All right, welcome back to Moms Behind Moto, episode 23.
I think
Yeah,
so.
heck yeah,
Let's
I think so. Yeah,
go. Let's
I
go.
know, for real. Okay, I feel like we haven't podcasted in a while, but I know we have, but it
I know.
feels like it's been a minute.
Yeah, I think it's been a little. It was because we like had pre-recorded some, and then you were sick,
That's
and
probably
all the
why.
things. Yeah.
Yes. Um, so we kind of got, or I shouldn't say we, I guess I got this topic because I'm part of this mom's Facebook group, which I should probably leave because it's some kind of, like, if I'm honest, a little bit of it's infuriating, some of the topics. But of course, I'm on it. And I was just like, I like to scroll, the posts that people put down and all the questions and all that good stuff. Which some of the questions are legit, and other you're like, okay, move on. Why are we talking about this? But there was a mom in the comments, or not in the comments, she made a post about how it's infuriating to her that kids are racing more than one area qualifier. Why can't I hear you now? Urgh. Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you.
What is happening?
I don't know. Technical difficulties. I hate
I'm not good.
technology.
I'm not good with technology either. Wow, this is crazy.
Okay, but anyways, so she was mad that people are racing more than one area and didn't understand it.
Right.
And I really do my best to refrain from getting in the comment section because sometimes your girl's got word vomit and it just like piles out. But I immediately text you about it. And I thought, what better topic to have this week than to talk about the ever hyped up conversation, and it kind of sways both ways. People have different feelings about this whole racing multiple areas and multiple regionals. We had touched on it with Kelly when she was on with us,
Right.
but I figured it might be a good topic to kind of break down again, considering we are now in the thick of it for
Yeah.
Loretta's.
Yeah.
We are already pretty much through areas now at
Yep.
this point, and we are getting into regionals.
Yep.
So I thought we should have another conversation about it. I think we go into this pretty ballsy because I think so many people have opinions on it, just as we do. And I'm sure maybe not our opinion, but my opinion will probably offend some or disagree. But I thought it would be a good topic again because we could talk about this for hours.
Well, I also think there's like a huge misunderstanding, and like people don't really understand how like the areas are different than the regionals. So, I think we could start there. Like when you had brought it up, my first response was, you know, areas don't even matter. Like you literally, I think you have to complete like half of the laps in one moto as the leader does type of thing, and technically you move on to the regional. So I kind of feel like the whole topic when it came to areas is kind of null and void because it doesn't, it really, you don't even have to complete two motos in order to move on to a regional. Number one. Number two, the whole point of this is you do try to qualify in multiple areas, regions, right? Now maybe the point that this mom was trying to make was people were racing the same area for the same regional. And at that point, if you've already done the area, it doesn't, no matter if you're first or last, it doesn't affect. If you've already done an area for a region, it doesn't matter. And it's a gate drop, which I think is kind of how you you feel as well. Like it, and it's a gate drop. It is. I will preface this because I don't want anyone to think that like what we're saying is right or wrong. It's just how we feel. But I can tell you that when Aiden was on 50s and we were writing for Cobra Elite, and I think we did talk about this when we were with Kelly, is that we had our the very first area that was on this West Coast side was actually at like Horn Rapids or something. It was pretty far. And we were like, you know what? Let's go. Let's do it. We knew there was already one coming. Oh, no, that was the first regional. So I'm getting a little off topic here because we were talking about areas first. But I will say this, we had already qualified in our region. Okay. The next race was at Hangtown, which is technically our home track.
Yes.
And we thought, well, and we were the young ones in the class, and Eric's thought process was, well, we knew the older, faster kids were going to be at this one. Let's go race it. And kind of to see like where do we stand? We weren't expecting Aiden to win or anything, but we kind of wanted to know like where are we at? And so we went out and practice. And then Moto Day came, and let me tell you, it was a shit show because there was a dad. I thought a fight was going to break out because he was so upset that Aiden was even racing it. And when we had talked to Cobra, Cobra told us, no, you race it. You absolutely race it. And we said, you know, the whole time we were having Aiden going to pull off anyways because we didn't want it to mess with the results. We wanted a gate drop. And so we were going to have him pull off. But Cobra said, no, we don't ever teach our kids to pull off the track. We race to the checkers. So I will say that we did race it and we did pull off. We did not take a checkered flag. We did on Moto 1. We took a checker flag on Moto 1. We did not take a checkered flag on Moto 2. And Eric and I made sure we stood. If anyone knows how Hangtown is, you come around to a part of a track where you kind of like, it's a far distance, but you're kind of like going where like the start would be. And there's like a turn there. And we stood over there to make sure to wave him off. Like, don't forget, we pull off because that is something we don't teach our kid. Like you race to until you see a black and white checkered flag. And the argument that parents had were, well, because he did Moto 1, it still skewed the results. And maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But in the end, we went like 2 and a DNF. And so I'm pretty sure it didn't alter. I got into it with a mom. It was like the whole thing. And there was this animosity. And so at that point, we actually said, this was not worth it. We'll never do it again. Yeah. It's not that we don't want to. It was like, this is crazy. Like this amount of like negativity and stress it put on the family and fights almost breaking out between dads. And honestly, a mom and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was, and my poor son, I mean, at the time, I think he was 5 years old and he's in staging looking at all this thinking like, oh my God, my dad's going to get in a fight right now. And I'm supposed to go on the track. Like it was a whole thing. And I don't know. I think you can argue multiple points. Again, I don't necessarily think my point is right, but a gate drop is a gate drop. I know parents will argue, oh, well, what if your kid, you know, causes a crash at the start? Well, maybe he does. That's racing. But it's racing, you know? So I don't know. What are you thinking?
Well, to touch on like the area part first. First of all, I feel like it's like such a misleading situation is that if you get the checkered, you essentially qualify. You don't even have to like do the full race.
Right.
You know, you've got, I mean, like for instance, Talon was hurt one year and he had to go, he did one lap and then he waited on the side and let the leader get the checkered and then pulled in after the you know, caught the checkered because he was injured and he couldn't race properly. So for the mom that was complaining about areas, I'm going to put it really blatantly. Like, I feel like you got to get over it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm sorry. Like, there's nothing handed out. There's no tickets. I mean, okay, if your kid is not worried about a cardboard trophy for an area qualifier, I I think we need to toughen our kids up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, here on the West Coast, our race promoters, I think they only trophy up to fourth place. So even
Yeah,
and
I don't know. I guess I mean I guess I could understand if it's like your first year trying to qualify and like there's those like sentimental things and it's like the first if you're trying to keep the first years of this and that and the other.
right, right, right.
Fine, but I don't know. I think it's the sport. Toughen up.
Yes, for
It's a
sure.
cardboard trophy. I'm sorry. I have zero sympathy for you. I
Yeah.
might get backlash, and I'm sorry, but that's just who I am.
Well, my
Um,
kid wouldn't even go pick up his trophy if
Mine
that.
either.
I
We
sometimes
never
he
pick the
does.
trophies.
Yeah.
Honestly, we don't. Now, as far as regionals go, kind of like you guys, we have been with teams, and we were always told, "Don't you dare pull off."
Yeah.
Um, Racing to the checkered because that is what you train your child to do. Because if I'm honest, and I know you've witnessed it too, how many kids have we seen pull off on a white flag because they completely brain farted?
A lot. It
It
happens all the
happens.
time.
It does. Or then you have the flaggers that double white flag you,
Yep.
by accident. I mean, we had that case at Loretta's one year, and there's been multiple cases at regionals where
Yep.
you get a double white flag, or we were just somewhere at, I think it was actually Cal Classic, and the
It
flagger made a
was.
mistake, and we got double white flags again, and people were like,
Yep.
ah, here we go,
Yep.
but if you didn't teach your child to race to a checkered flag and they get a white and they just automatically assume that next one's going to be the checkered, like
Mm-hmm.
shit happens. Mistakes
Yep.
happen on everybody's parts. People are human. Promoters are human. Flaggers are human.
Yeah.
God forbid, like you don't teach them, you don't pull off until you see that white and black in front of your face. I don't know. I think you're creating bad habits in your child
Yeah.
if
I
you
agree.
teach them to pull off. Now, we do try to be good humans because we do race a lot of the regionals because
Yeah.
racing is racing, and I don't care what anyone says, racing is the best training you'll ever get. You can go live at training facilities, that's great, and you will learn a ton of fundamentals, but if you are not getting gate drops, I feel like you are not learning how to deal with the nerves, get the
Yeah.
gate drops, and have a full gate of kids.
Yep.
um you can have all the fundamentals, you can have all the training, but nothing prepares you for a race
Yeah.
like a race.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we do
Well,
race a ton of regionals, and we, like you, always finish the first race. People look at us sideways. I mean, one year we had parents on the line, like make one in Casey to like handshake them and say, "Will you promise to pull off?" And we're
I
like,
remember that. I remember that.
"Seriously? Like,
Yeah.
really?
I know.
Sure. Do you want me to pinky promise kiss on?" Like, I don't know.
Make sure you're not crossing fingers or toes or legs, whatever you
Yeah,
used to do.
and yes, same argument. People, it ruins the overalls. Well, I'm sorry, but like I've said before, and I'm going to be blunt again, and I used a term last time and a woman did not like it, and I respect that. So I'm going to change my way of saying it. But in a world that there's a lot of softness around us, these kids, I'm sorry, but participation trophies are just bullshit in my opinion.
Well, and let's be honest, I feel like
Sorry.
moto is like one of the only sports that like we don't do that anymore.
Well, and on top of it, like moto is one of the sports. Like I was actually talking to a fellow mom about dance.
Right.
And I said, I hate dance for the pure fact, even like when Miller was in gymnastics, I hated it because it was based off of what somebody thought of you and your technique.
Right.
Racing is racing. You either get the checkered and you either win or you don't. Like, there's no arguing it.
Yeah,
Yes, can you
there's-
protest because of motors? Absolutely, and that's considered cheating. But Miller can go and get first one weekend and then not even top 10 the next. And I'm like,
Yep.
wait, that one looked better than that, but it's because that judge
Yeah.
liked something different.
Yeah.
And so it's like all these blurred lines. There's all this gray area.
Yeah.
Racing is racing. You're either fast enough or you're not.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But I think it also teaches children that you've got to work hard to get where you want to be.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Now-
And that's something that like we try to teach our kid that outside of moto, right?
Correct. Yeah. So with the regional thing, like we do pull off on the second moto for the most part, But Casey is very strategic about where he pulls him off. He's not going to pull him off on the most convenient place for everyone to be able to see so that everyone can take a deep breath. He may pull him off literally right before the finish line where they're already waving the checkered and he veers off because he's like, I'm teaching him, he's seeing the checkered flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And does it give people a, like, excuse my language, but a mind fuck? Yes. People are like, oh my God, he's not pulling off. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it's like, pump the brakes. We're doing what is right in other people's mind. It's not right in my mind. I would always encourage my child to finish the race. But like leading back to that, like you said though, like for you guys, Hangtown is your home track, your home region. And I believe Hangtown is actually our home region as well.
Okay.
The way we fall. So for that being said, let's lay it out for people. Say we go to Paula because it's the first one for us. We go and qualify. We still go to Hangtown and we race it. Say we finish, right? We get checkers at both. That is now opening up a spot for somebody at the Paula region,
Right.
that it's their home region.
Right.
So just because your kid got fifth at Hangtown and Talon's already qualified, that doesn't mean you're getting that spot. It's whoever got fifth at Paula
Yes.
now gets my ticket.
Yes. And I think that's where most of the misunderstanding is, because people will say, oh, well, power ranking. Okay, yes, power ranking is a thing. And just so everybody knows how it works, is typically like when you go to the East Coast and you're doing these, there's a lot more racers. Okay, so they take 6 versus over here on the West Coast, they take 4. That's
Yes.
drastic. That is huge. 2 riders
Huge.
per region is a lot. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's the first thing I want to say. But people think that because you took a ticket at your quote unquote home track, that now the power ranking goes to the East Coast. No, it doesn't. The power ranking goes back to the original track that you first got your ticket at. And I think that's where most of the misunderstanding is.
Yeah.
The only time that power ranking really, that I know of since we've been racing, so don't like quote me on this, but since we've been racing, the only time that power ranking actually came into play was during COVID.
Uh-huh.
And we had to have those super regionals.
Yes.
And it was because we were combining regions. And that was
Mhm.
the only time that I saw power ranking came into play. And truth be told, the power ranking actually went to Washougal that year. So everyone's arguing like, oh, it went to East Coast because there's more racers, because that's typically how it does work. The more
Yeah.
racers there are, the more stacked, I shouldn't say more stacked, the probability changes, right? Because you have more riders over there. Well, because of how the regions, the races fell, there were kids in like the central part of the United States going to Washougal to qualify, right? Who normally wouldn't be there. So the power ranking was actually on the West Coast that year.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is and you don't have to agree with me, but here's how I look at it. We all race a lot. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like we're racing every single weekend right now. Okay.
Every week.
So when it comes to Loretta's, we could all agree that we're taking the best of the best in the country, right? You're taking the 42 top riders.
The whole
Okay?
point of qualifying. Yes.
Right? Okay. Point of qualifying. So to me, if I'm racing like majority of things on the West Coast, I want majority of those tickets to go to these kids that I'm constantly racing. Not saying that I don't want East Coast riders. I'm not saying
Hey.
that. I'm saying because I know these riders. I know how they race. We're racing them all the time. I want them to line up next to me at Loretta's versus some kid I may not know on the other side of the country. So
Yeah.
that would be I would feel the same if I was in the South Central area or the East Coast. I would feel the same way. Like I want the majority of tickets. So really by you doing multiple regions, you're helping out your
The West Coast kids.
yes. Or if you were an East Coast family.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard. I will say, I don't want to say it's easier for us West Coast kids to qualify because I don't. And I don't think it's easier because we take less kids. I think it's easier in the sense that our regions are a little closer together, we might have to drive 8 to 10 hours for each region versus when you're like in South Central East Coast area, you could be on the 14, 17 hour drive per region.
Yeah.
So it would be like, if that were me, I'm not going to go to every region. I'm not going to
Right.
spend a day and a half driving to race and then a day and a half to come home. But if I can drive, 8 hours and race, I'll drive 8 hours and race and come home, and it's not that big of
Yeah.
a deal. That's just how I look at it. And so I just think majority of it is that people need to educate themselves on how it actually works out and who
Mhm.
the tickets are going to.
Yeah, and I've got to say, like, I know a lot of people either love or hate Loretta's, right? And I love
Right.
Loretta's for the pure fact of the qualifying system,
Mm-hmm.
because coming from me with an elite rider that is fast and advanced, I feel the most safest when I go to a race like that because I know the type of kids that are on the track. They are
Right.
skilled, they are
Yep.
technically trained, they are
Yep.
fast, and I feel like there's less, like, I don't even know how this makes, but like less carnage.
Yeah, less
Um,
chaos.
so for me, if you are not fast enough to earn a ticket, that's okay. Like everyone's got to work their way there.
Absolutely.
But at the same point, like it, you tickets, like Kelly said, tickets aren't just handed
No.
away. They're not just given away. They're
Nope.
earned.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, if you are not qualified enough to physically earn that ticket, I feel like you should not be at an event such as that.
Right.
I do feel like it's very safe. I feel like I said it's just there. You like you go to some of these races, like for instance, like I love springeting. Springeting is so much fun, but you got everybody from all walks
Yes. Yes.
like
Hence,
beginners.
hence the 3 divisions in every
You got
class.
beginners to the elites.
Yeah.
And my thing with that is those kids that are barely making it around the track are making it very scary
Mm-hmm.
for our
Mm-hmm.
children that are going at a fast pace, jumping big jumps. And half of the time, it's those that are not supposed to be on a track. That is how, like, some serious accidents happen.
Right. Right.
So, from my best advice to a mom that maybe their kid just quite isn't on that cusp yet, you like I know how bad you want it because trust me, I'm a mom and I have a child that wants it every year also. But at the same point, like my child's safety and everything else, like as a whole for this whole program,
Mm-hmm.
is far more important than a ticket.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think, and I mean, you touch a good point there of, you know, less chaos, less carnage when we get to Loretta's. Um, I think it's important. I think it's important for um, these kids to experience all levels of racing at a race. Do I like it? No, I wish that but we've all been there. My son was a beginner. My son was once a rider who never threw his leg over a dirt bike, and then we're out here racing,
100%. And you have
So,
to learn somehow, and I get that. And I don't want
yes,
people to misunderstand that, like, I don't think you should be racing because that's not the facts.
right.
But I'm just saying, like, there's a right way and a wrong way to start this sport.
Yeah,
And
and
I
jump.
feel like you're doing your child a disservice too, throwing them in too much too fast because that's when shit hits the fan.
I agree. I agree 100%. I think we did like almost a full year of racing, and some of that kind of like played into the time of year we actually started racing, but we almost had a full year of racing and actually going to big races before we even were like, oh, okay, yeah, let's try Loretta's. You know what I mean? Like we had gone to Texas,
Yeah.
we had gone, you know what I mean? Like we had done all the things. Um, but what I was going to touch on was there was an incident a few years ago where the same thing kind of happened. Uh, and there was a handful of riders or two handfuls of riders that were racing multiple regions and getting tickets, and so be it. But the flip side of it was these athletes were getting paid by Monster.
Yeah.
So now Monster doesn't do that anymore. So I
Okay.
don't believe you get paid on your regions anymore.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I don't know why it's that way. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure because I saw the list of the races, what is paid out. Um, but when these racers are getting money for moto wins or race wins, why wouldn't you? I mean, isn't that the goal? Isn't that the goal to like get money? I mean, I know, and it's everyone's own business what they do with that money, but we're trying to, we take all of our son's winnings, earning sponsorship money, and we put it into a savings account for him. Like our goal is maybe different from someone else's. Some people have to use it to race, and I totally
Yeah.
understand that. But our goal for our son is that when he gets to an age that he will have money to put down on a home. That's just us. So yeah, if he could go and win $1,000 a weekend because he raced another region,
Yeah.
$1,000 is $1,000.
Yeah. And I'm not sure. Do regions pay out contingency? I
That
don't
is a
know.
good. To be honest, when we
I'll
were
ask
on,
Casey.
yeah, no, ask him because, and but I also think it's who you're writing for. Like, I mean, obviously, our gear company doesn't pay us
Yeah, yeah,
contingency
yeah.
at a
I'm
region,
saying as far as like
but
bike manufacturers.
like Cobra did, which is why Cobra told us, no, you
Yeah.
race. You're losing out if you
And
don't.
and for some people, winning that contingency to be able to put it back into your bike
It's
matters.
huge, right?
I
I
mean, I
mean,
know it's
that's
not cash in your pocket, but it's essentially cash in your pocket to spend on new stuff for your bikes.
100%.
Or
And let's
even
be
gear. I
honest.
know people can use it for gear and
Yeah.
for boots or helmets, whatever it may
Yep.
be at your local dealers.
Yep.
So I feel like people being quick to judge isn't fair.
No. And we've been there. Like we've been judged. We have judged. We don't anymore because I mean I'm at the point where I'm like, it's your business. You do you. I really don't care. Doesn't affect me. Um, if someone's racing multiple regions and my kid doesn't make it, then Aiden, you better figure your shit out because there
And that's
shouldn't
my take
be.
on it. It's like either you're like if my kid doesn't make it. Now, if there's bike issues, that's a whole different ball game. But like if my kid just
Right.
blatantly did not qualify because he wasn't fast enough, well,
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, think of it this way. Okay, so you qualify for three regions. Okay, you go to the first region, you're the fifth place kid. Okay, you go to the second region, you're the fifth place kid. Okay, so you're still not getting a ticket. You go to the third region and you're a fifth place kid, but someone else raced multiple regions as well. Guess what? You're going to get your ticket. Okay,
correct.
now if you're the sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th place kid and you don't get a ticket, well, then I'm sorry. And I mean this sincerely. I'm not trying to be a bitch or have anyone hate on me, but I would tell my son, clearly you're not good enough to go.
Yeah,
Right? Here's the
I
way I
agree.
look at it. I always tell, when we first started, I told Aiden, at your very first area, if you are not getting 12th place or better, you are not going to Loretta's. And here's why. Because we take 4 riders from each region, which would mean if you're not top 12, you're not going to get in anyways. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So obviously I expect him to do better than that. But I'm just saying, like, if you're going to an area and you're getting 15, 16,
But it's
17, 18,
telling. It's telling for what
it
the regional
is.
will look like.
Right. And I mean, unfortunately, I'm that way. I don't think my kid or any of my kids with anything in life in general should just be handed something.
Correct.
I feel that
And
way in sports.
I also think that if parents are willing to pay to play, an example, pay to race,
Mm-hmm.
like that's their prerogative. Like let them. Like
Yeah.
who are we? Who are people to tell us like you shouldn't be racing, you shouldn't be spending your money because your kid's already qualified.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't know. And a lot of times too, if you think about it, just so everybody knows, and I'm taking this as racing as a whole. So when manufacturers offer contingency money, a lot of times I shouldn't say a lot of time, there are stipulations. So a lot of them, you have to have a minimum of so many riders for them to even offer a contingency
yes.
money. So
Uh-huh.
if there's 4 to 8 kids lined up on a gate, most of them are going to say it doesn't matter if you won every single class. If there was only 4 to 10 riders, most of the time I think there has to be like a minimum of 8 riders per class to
I want to
even.
say it's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
you
sure.
know what I mean?
But
And it depends. I think it depends on the race. Obviously,
yeah,
the bigger the race, the more riders you're going to have. But there have been times where we've gone to races and there's contingency, but there was not a ton of riders. And then it was
then
like,
you lose
okay,
out.
well,
Yeah.
you lose out on that money.
Yeah.
Show up and race.
No, definitely. What else was I going to touch on though with it?
Just that it's a
Um,
stressful time of year.
It is. But on top of it, I know a lot of parents' concerns then now are the fact of the tickets, right? The
Right.
physical ticket, it's an exciting thing to be able to walk up to the trailer or wherever it is for trophies and be
It's your
able to get
picture.
them to hand you your ticket, to get the picture,
Yeah.
and like do all of that. Trust me, I get it because I was that mom the first year. I mean, I told Casey take every picture possible. It was exciting, but on the flip side to that is how much more rewarding is it for a child or for even me when I know I've truly earned something.
Right. Right.
Then on top of it, it's not the fact that you're not getting a ticket. You'll get
Right.
one. It just
Yep.
wasn't there. And I understand. Trust me, we had that problem. What was it? One year, where were we? Was it Washougal? No, maybe it was. And Talon got fifth. We knew by power ranking he was still going to qualify.
Right.
And you know what I did, guys? I asked somebody, can I borrow your ticket so I can take the flippin' picture?
Yeah. I mean,
Guess what? Nobody knew. Now everyone does. But
right.
at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. Say, hey, I'm not going to get my ticket until I get to Loretta's because of the power ranking. Do you mind if I borrow your ticket for a photo?
Right. Well, okay. So
I'd let you borrow mine.
it's funny that you say that because when we did Cal Classic, Aiden won a
Oh,
class
yeah,
and he won a plate. And the funny thing is the only plate that didn't show up was the plate that he won. It was that class. But what did they do? They gave him another number 1 plate. They had him hold it funky so you couldn't see like what class it was.
Label. Yeah.
And okay.
It is
Do you
this.
do you think? And actually, it was funny because they said like obviously just go to the office, get your address, they'll mail it to you, and I was like, okay, no problem. Like I could care less. I I feel bad because I'm glad it happened to us because we were kind of like, okay, we'll get it. Who cares? I probably
Yeah.
would have felt more bad if it was maybe for someone who maybe had never won a plate before and they, you know
For
what I
sure.
mean? It was like their first one. But it was funny because when I walked into the office, Amber was like, oh, thank God it was you. because
Yeah, because
people
they know you're
get
understanding.
so upset and it's like, you guys, it's okay, like it'll happen. And honestly, what was great is they were like, we'll mail it to you. And I think 2 weeks later we were just at DT1 racing a road to Mammoth and they had it there for him. Like they didn't even have to
Yeah.
mail it, we just showed up and here's your plate. And same thing,
Yeah.
I think for Loretta's they give you a ticket when you get there. I mean, I know you
Yes,
want to
they'll
post
give
the
it to
picture
you
before,
there.
but you do get
Mhm.
it for
Yeah,
keepsake.
I just feel like if, and I get it because getting that prestigious ticket, I get it. It is like a prestigious thing. It is a well-known thing. It is a huge honor. But in all reality, if that is the only reason my child is racing is to be able to take a picture with the ticket, like we're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
I
Totally.
hate this, and I feel like I'm going to get so much backlash for this episode, and that's fine. Whatever. I am who I am.
Well, it's fine. I mean, this is just our opinion. Like, and,
That's
but
just me. If my kid is
yeah,
literally chasing trophies,
you're in the wrong sport, honey. Go play
like I want you
soccer.
racing because you want this is like the lifestyle you want, and because you love your motorcycle and you love this.
It's too dangerous of a sport to just chase trophies. Why is that a
And
tongue
guess what?
twister? Cha, 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 cha.
You know how many trophies my husband won as an amateur? Guess how many are in my house?
Yeah. I can tell you when we moved, because we, like when we first started, we did like all of our like, Sac Raceway and local series around here, which we still do local series. But the amount of trophies we had when we moved, I was like, you can take them back to the track and they can, like, we're not keeping all these. You can keep the big ones, the important ones, but
Or
we're
you
not.
can donate them. You can donate them to like special needs facilities or for place, and they'll like take the like if it's like an actual trophy, they'll take the
Yeah.
stuff off and repurpose them for stuff.
Oh, I love that.
I've donated a ton, even to like Salvation Army, because you know how many, or even like you know how many people go and need a costume and they go to like Salvation Army to find
Yeah.
like the odds and
Yeah,
ends, and it's like,
where's my trophy to go
what if
with my
I wanted to be
costume?
an Olympic winner for Halloween one
Yeah,
year?
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think, again, like we brought it up because, and people have actually brought this up to us before. I know that the Facebook chat like initiated you and I like having this conversation, but we
Yeah.
have people ask. But I do think it's really important for you to dive in and read the rules, understand how it works, and know that, I mean, really by you racing multiple regions, you're helping your coast, the West Side. um,
Please tell me you could do that without. Oh, I guess I can.
what? Like you don't gotta.
You don't have to like.
Oh, like cross my fingers. No, I don't.
Gangster.
Yeah, I am gangster. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think it's important. I mean, if you listen to other podcasts with amateur racing, I think majority of people on there talking will tell you that racing is your best form of training. I mean, even Amy Cochran talked about it when we just had her
Here's
on.
my
She said,
problem with
like,
all of it, this whole situation, is that let people make their choices, and these other families, and I'm saying this publicly to everybody, if you are one of the families that don't believe in it, stop bullying families about it.
oh, for sure. Just, yeah,
That's
let
my
it be.
biggest thing is everyone has to make the best decisions for their families.
Yeah.
And you don't know why they're making that decision.
Yep.
You don't know what it is. But my thing is people need to stop being assholes about it and speaking it like and talking it into the universe and spreading it around the pits or confronting people on it, this or that. Like you've got to let families do what's right for them, and you've
Yes.
got to do what's right for you.
Yep.
Because guess what? Maybe this year you're pissed off that there's kids racing multiple regions, but what happens when you hit a new level of like intensity and you are wanting to train and race as much as possible? What happens
Yeah.
in like 2 years if you when you're that kid racing the multiple
Yeah.
regionals because you're trying to get more racing under your belt? So
Yeah.
then you're like foot in the mouth.
Yeah.
I just don't think like talking shit about it, making confrontations on it, starting all the drama at the track, like keep to yourself. If you have a feeling, fine. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions, but the whole bullying and being assholes about it at the track really needs to stop.
No, really. And honestly, the other thing that came to mind when you were saying that was I think a few years ago, when I say few, it was probably at least four because I feel like it was more on the side of when we had first started. There was someone who was complaining about a family that raced or qualified in more than 3 regions. And I'm like, who cares? What if they have bike failure? What if someone's getting married and they can't make one? I don't know. They're like, there's so many things. Like, if you want to qualify for 6 regions and spend your money traveling across the United States to make it, then so be it. That's you. That's your
Yeah.
business, not mine.
Yeah.
And
No,
it
I
shouldn't
agree.
be. Shouldn't be anybody's business but your own.
No, I just think, and on top of it is when all these parents, it's majority of these parents, right? That
For sure. This isn't coming from
start the
children.
drama and
Yeah.
that want to talk the shit and
Yeah.
want to like spread the gossip through the pits. But guess what? It does not affect me as a parent. You
Yeah.
can talk all the smack you want about the way we're raising talent or raising the way we race or the programs we run. You could talk about the way me and Casey are. We may suck as parents. We may, I don't know. You can say all you want about me, my husband, but guess what? It doesn't affect us. The only people you are attempting to hurt is my child. And if
Yeah.
any grown adult can do that and feel good knowing that it is affecting a child, like you need help and I'm going to pray for you. Because
Yeah.
really, when you start the drama in the pits, when you talk all this crap about families or whatever it is, you're not hurting the adults. We as adults are built strong enough to either stand up for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
internalize it, give you the big middle finger, let it roll off our shoulders. But these
Yep.
children are the ones. And then when you're talking about it in front of your kids, you are then raising your child to be that way. And then it's a trickle effect. And these kids are so innocent.
Yeah.
They literally look at us and say, what do I do? And you say, you're doing this. And they're saying, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're raising our kids to listen and behave.
Yeah. It's
So
no
they're
different.
literally doing. And just the same with like a protest. Like,
I
it's
was
not
just
the
going to say
fault.
that.
Not the
It's
kids'
just-
fault that these parents choose to cheat.
Yeah, I was literally just going to say that because that was what like came to mind was I was thinking like, okay, it's what was comical is I think it was last year, the year before, there was like that big protest in the PW class at Loretta's and a whole bunch of people were cheating. I'm like, do you really think those 5, 6, 7-year-olds are like, Dad, put a cheater motor in my PW so I can win? No, they're not. Now granted, I will tell you, like Aiden is very in tune with his bikes. He would probably be like,
Yeah,
the
but how
bike
old
is
is he
really
now? Like,
no, when he was on a 50, he would be like, man, this bike is fast. I'm like, well, Tyson built a great motor at Cobra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like things like that. But he would never ask us. I don't know.
are we thinking?
Right. Or he would never say,
Mom, because I
he would
really
never-
win
yeah.
today.
he would never say, Dad, make sure you put that mod motor in my bike so I can win in
Yeah.
the stock class. Like never.
Yeah.
And so, it makes me feel sad because those young kids are racing and then they're getting penalized for a choice. They're getting penalized for a
Yeah,
choice that
yeah,
their
the
parents
goggles.
made. I love it. They're
Yeah.
getting penalized for a choice their parents made.
Yes, no, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Say hi, Decker. The internet wants to
Hi.
see you.
Hi,
Okay.
Jack.
Okay, can you go? I'll be done in like 5 minutes.
Hi, T.
All right, boys. Thank you. Out.
You didn't feed me.
Please don't.
I'm going to be talking about your parenting now because you haven't fed your kid lunch.
I haven't
Oh,
fed
wait.
my kid.
It's only 11:40. Talon, you
He's
got 20 minutes
starving.
you got 20 minutes till lunchtime, dude.
He's a liar because I've already fed him 2 meals today.
Of course.
There, say hi.
I love it.
But yeah, no,
I
I would definitely agree, and I think it's just people need to do less talking and just take it all
Race.
in,
just go
experience
race.
it all, race it all, and worry about laying all of your feelings into your kid's program. Make you hungry for more, make it want you to be better, do better, and pour all that energy there instead of into trying to cause riffraff everywhere.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is to take away from this is you do you. If you don't want to race multiple regions, don't race multiple regions if you've already qualified. If you want to race multiple regions and you've qualified, go race multiple regions. You do you. You do what's best for your family. Stop pointing fingers, stop bullying, just be a good human, be a good person, and go have fun and make memories at the racetrack with your kid, ultimately. Because what I'm learning right now outside of moto is that this shit goes by real fast. And part of that is our second son is getting ready to graduate high school. And it's like, holy crap, where did time go? And so like, I'm looking at this of like, okay, Aiden's our last one. I'm going to soak up as much time and memory making possible that I can. And for us, that is at the track. That's what he enjoys doing. That's what we enjoy doing together. And so that's what we're going to do. Hate on us later.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It is. And I feel like it's very fair to say that some of the best memories are made at the track.
Yeah.
And everyone needs to sit back and realize that, like, if you have the means to be doing this sport, I feel like you should count your blessings because it really is a unique community. It is a unique opportunity that most people don't get. Yes, there are other travel sports where you get to spend all this time, and I get it. Like, we're not the only ones. But I do see moto as a true blessing, and everyone needs to focus less on everyone else around them and focus on them and their own child. And it's easier to say it than to do it, because trust me, I have my moments where I'm like, what the hell? Like, this, that, and the other. Like, why aren't we at this? Why aren't we doing this, that, and the other? And Casey's like, trust the process.
Yes.
Worry about our own kid. Pour that energy into Talon. And it's easier to say than to do it sometimes, but it is one of the best pieces of advice.
Yeah.
For
Well, and truth be told, we're all guilty of that. And if you're going to sit here and say that you haven't done that, you are literally lying to yourself. And I
Yeah.
will say, am I a professional at this? No. Have I been doing it a long time? Yes. And I can tell you that our biggest mistakes, where we started focusing on what others were doing. So we did it. And that was when Aiden went backwards. And that was because what they were doing did not work for our son. And so we regrouped, we got back together, and we said, what was working when we were the most successful?
Yeah.
So, and again, what we do doesn't, that's why people are like, oh, well, what do you do? How do you do it? And I'm like, listen, you have to figure that out on your own, because
Yeah.
what we do with Aiden is not necessarily the same program that's going to work for the other kid, you
Yeah.
know, and
Sure.
we've learned the hard way. So please take it from me of you have to figure out that sweet spot and what works for your son, daughter, whoever's racing, and also what works for your family.
Correct. Yeah.
So
No, definitely. I think that is all very true. I think that kind of wraps it up.
it does.
I hope we
Yeah.
didn't hurt too many feelings or offend too many
Been too
people.
many people.
I'm sorry. It's just the way I see it. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like
Is
I've
what it
said, I
is.
spend a lot of money on this sport for me not for my kid not to be able to do as he pleases.
Yeah. No, I
You know,
agree.
and that meaning racing because we don't have the luxury to train all the time during the week because Casey's got a job that he's got to be at. So for us, our racing is our training. And so if that means we're racing every regional people. And I'm sorry if it offends you, but that's what our program, that's what works for our program
Yeah.
right now. That's the stage of life we're in.
Okay. I won't bully you for it.
Okay, better not. So, but yeah, as always, our inbox is open if you want to
Oh boy, here we go.
drop questions about it, or if you're curious about how all of it works, please message us. We're happy to like break it down in the best
Yeah.
terms that we can. If I offended you, I apologize sincerely. That's who I am. You can ask my kids. They're like, you're not a lovey-dovey, like beat around the bush mom. Nope, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it blunt just so it's done and over with. That's just how I see it. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions because if I'm honest, I mean, and I think at one point your opinion on this was different
Yes.
and it has since changed.
Yes.
And that's fine, right? I
Yep.
mean, like you said, that's why you have to get educated on it. That's why you have to read on it. That's why you have to have the knowledge with all the power ranking and all the things because you might really be shocked and surprised by it. And one day when your kid is in a different situation, your opinion can then flop again.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think that kind of wraps up this episode. We just wanted to touch on it short and sweet.
I do want to add one thing and then
Yeah.
we'll be done. So,
Okay.
talking on power ranking, what I want everyone to understand too is that the more kids that we had talked about, the more kids that line up, you
Uh-huh.
know, there's unfortunate circumstances where we get qualified and then we go and we train and sometimes unfortunate things happen, right? There are
Yeah,
times when
for sure.
spots become available, you know, well after regionals are over. Because of whatever it may be. I don't even want to put that out in the environment, but you can catch what I'm like throwing down, okay?
Yeah.
So then what happens is then maybe, you know, this kid that no longer can race multiple regions. Well, guess what? If you were the, you know, 5th, 6th place kid,
Yep.
guess what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
So
And there's
there,
also the cases of getting in as an alternate. And with the alternates, like it happens. I mean,
yes,
there's that little hill. I call it Hope Hill because I feel like everyone's just waiting there with hope to be on that
yes,
track. And it is a thing to sit and watch because like you see these kids that they do get that call and they're like, get on the line now. And their eyes light up and they're like, oh shit, it's happening.
yeah,
You know, but that is also a thing. And if you have the financial means to travel that far in hopes of just maybe being an alternate, then like that's always an option as well.
yep,
But yeah, no, definitely.
yeah. So thanks for
Okay.
listening.
Yeah.
We
Don't come
still
at
lo-
us too hard.
Yeah, we still love you.
We do. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we will be back next week with another episode.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.